Have you heard about Detroit, Michigan? It is going to hell in a handbasket. We have talked about this a little bit before, but Detroit is literally cutting off water to its residents who can't afford to pay their water bills. And now I know some people say, well, if you can't afford water, then you shouldn't have water. Really? Okay. Yeah, that's right. Nearly 300,000 people may soon have their water turned off. Some people have had the water turned off already. 15,000 have had their water shut down. And the water company is not slowing. But PETA, which is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they want to lend a hand by agreeing to pay the late water bills for 10 Detroit families. And what's the catch? Well, you just have to eat vegan. Yeah, that's right. We've got a quote from the PETA blog. The last thing that people who are struggling need is increased healthcare costs. By accepting our offer to go vegan, not only will families be getting an immediate financial boost and helping animals if they stick with it, they'll also lower their risk of obesity, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and strokes. Okay, so they're trying to do something nice. Now, this is only 10, they're only doing this for 10 families. Now, there are literally thousands and thousands of people that are having their water turned off. It's only 10, but I guess they're trying to do something nice here. But by the nature of this being 10 families, isn't it fair to say this is far more of a publicity stunt than actual work to get these people to have their water back on?
That doesn't sound like the PETA I know, that they would be just after publicity. I mean, yes, I mean, of course it's a publicity stunt, but yeah. Realistically, and I don't know if anybody's even going to take them up on it. It seems like one of the challenges, I mean, it's hard enough to get, like if you live in an inner city of Detroit, those are they're called food deserts, and it's hard enough, they don't even have grocery stores, and so they have to shop at bodegas and the like, and I haven't been to Detroit, so I don't know what Detroit is like specifically.
But they're giving them one vegan basket to get them started, yeah. Malcolm.
And like, what are they gonna eat that's vegan? But realistically,
you do need a big glass of water to choke down that tofu. It can be very dry.
I'm not going to badmouth veganism because there are people in this part of this network who will be very unhappy with you. Yeah. And but yes, it's a publicity stunt for PETA, but realistically, it's also a publicity stunt to draw attention to the fact of what's going on in Detroit with these people. If not for PETA, we wouldn't be talking about this probably. So. While you can accuse them of using whatever tactics they can and taking advantage, hopping on the Detroit water bandwagon, at least we're talking about it and it's raising awareness about that issue. And I think we should also recognize that the residents of Detroit, while they are having their water cut off, the businesses of Detroit are not having their water cut off, even though they owe Detroit, the city of Detroit, or the water company, $5 million or more. And they do not face, because they can fight it legally, but poor people have no capacity to fight this legally, so they're the ones who get screwed over.
Yeah, so that being said, should we cut PETA some slack here? It seems like kind of just a publicity stunt, but they're sort of trying to...
I think this is deplorable. I think this is so demeaning. This is a way of, I mean, I think a lot of us think that water is a basic human right. You gotta have water. You can survive for a while without eating. I can't, but you can survive way less.
What are we again?
We're first world country.
We're first world. I always forget my notes here.
And that's the thing. I get PETA's vibe. I support a lot of things they do. I'm happy for the most part that they exist. But I think this is so degrading to the people of Detroit to say, we'll help you with your water bill, which for an organization like PETA isn't a lot of money. If you dance, clown, dance, like do what we want you to do and try and eat vegan, like fuck you. It's not about you and your agenda. It's about these people not having water. I think it's humiliating to the people who take them up on it, and I think they're totally demeaning and degrading the people of Detroit.
You know what? I was sort of in between the two of you, but by the time you finish that sentence, I'm with you on this. It reminds me of these people like in New York City when there are homeless people asking for money, and I had a friend who would be a comic that I used to know, and we'd be walking down the street in Times Square, and there'd be all these homeless people, and he'd be like, I only give homeless people that if they do something. Like I want them to do something. You know what I mean? Like sing a song or do a card trick or something like that. Because then they're doing something. Otherwise, I'm just giving them something. And I think that goes to your point. What do you guys make of the fact that we're just watching a city in our country literally fall apart? Now, I have been to Detroit, and there are parts of Detroit that are really nice. The baseball stadium's really nice.
Sure. Publicly funded.
Publicly funded. The GM Renaissance Center, which is where the original Total Recall was filmed, really nice. It's really cool. So there's some stuff. But if you go outside of that, I mean, it almost looks like a war zone. There are houses just decimated. There are areas that are completely gone. We're watching this happen in America. It's never on the news.
Yeah, the city of Detroit is disintegrating, and it's this. I mean, it relates to the other topic we did with the income inequality and the collapse of the middle class in America, collapse of unions. I mean, there's but it didn't just happen. I know there are people who say, oh, they blame the residents of Detroit. It didn't just happen. These were policies that were pursued, and this is the logical outcome of those policies. And there are certain people who gain from this, and there are others who don't. And the people who gain from it have all the political influence, and the people who don't do not.
Well, and I also think that there are gimmicks. There are like these weird little kind of, dare I use this word, I don't know, fun ways to get attention on Detroit. I know that a while ago they were auctioning off houses for like next to nothing. Yeah. Beautiful houses.
Literally for a penny.
Yeah, say, come live here, come put money back into the community. That's awesome. That's an amazing publicity stunt, and I hope it worked. But this is adding insult to injury, because either we're not talking about how this city has been destroyed when this city was the backbone of how America was America. I mean, like people talk about, well, my grandfather worked for GM for many years, and he had a great retirement house, and we had all this stuff. They have nothing now. And then to add insult to injury, saying if you tell us a joke or juggle, we'll give you $100 for your water. It's horrible.
Yeah. Vegan food is a lot better than it used to be. Just to say, I'm saying, there's been great advances in the quality of vegan food.
By the way, also, I was a vegetarian for 13 years. I regret every day of it.
I think that's a perfect ending.